What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan, by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, it's Lions Talk Live. It is the Friday morning show edition, and you only got so many more of these before we start training camp. We've got a little bit of a story for you guys this morning, as you can tell from today's thumbnail. The Detroit Lions might just indeed have their $24 million answer as pass rusher, as linebacker, as, I don't know, everything else you're going to use them for. We're going to dive into that during the main topic of the day. We got a special guest coming on today. It will not be Kurt the Hitman Steele. He's out on super double secret assignments today. He may be listening in while he's out on those assignments. I don't know what to find out. Maybe he's trying to keep his location that secret. Anyways, Kurt, I'm sure we'll be back next week, but we got somebody filling in. Coach is going to the bullpen to get somebody in for you guys. We also got a couple other news tidbits that will be along with the main topic of the day. There might be a lot of indications, I guess you could say. Lions pass rush opposite Aiden Hutchinson is about to get a bit of an upgrade. Again, we'll dive into that and maybe just a little bit more during the main topic of the day. Before we get there, before we get on the 5 headlines now, you probably already know the drill by now. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, why the heck not? Please consider doing so, making that march for 13,900 subs, and we are 22 subs away from that. Never thought I'd live to see the day, but hey, here we are. Also, if you have a half second in time, it doesn't cost a dime. Reach on down, be kind, hit that thumbs up button, that like button, hit all the buttons. If you watch YouTube for any kind of period of time, you probably understand any kind of interactions like that with a thumbs up, with a share, the copy, the paste, the subscribes, the comments, whatever. It all helps the YouTuber out. Whoever you're watching, take a second, hit that button, because you know what? They're putting in their work for you. If you can hit that button, you'd be doing a whole lot for them. We try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. Last but never least, I'd probably get my head shaved by the wife if I don't say this, so I try to fit it in every once in a while. Go to jensavagefitness.com. Check it out. Most of you know she's a fitness guru, dietary guru, all of the above. And most of you also probably are aware, for the last few months, she's had me on peptides, along with some of the other things she recommends. These are all natural products. There's, no kind of fillers or anything. But, I can tell you in the last 2 months, I've lost about 7 or 8 pounds, gotten a lot more mass, muscle. My blood pressure's gone down. My cholesterol's gone down, yada, yada, yada. Might be worth your time to check it out. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But, just some kind thoughts for you. All right, with all that done, out of the way, let's get the show rocking and rolling and going and kicking off the weekend edition with 5 headlines now. Hey, you know what? It's a great time for the Lions and being a fan, because you know what? From here on out, we've just gone through about 3 or 4 months, or whatever you want to say, in the offseason, where there's been a whole lot of speculation news. And not that stuff isn't always going to be around, but we're getting to the point where you're going to get a whole lot less of it, and you're going to start getting more detailed information. One of the things I know bugs some in the Do crew, or some people watch the videos, they get tired of the speculations. But during the offseason, that's all you really do. We're speculating who the Lions are going to sign in free agency. We're speculating which rookie is going to be drafted, who we're going to trade for in the draft, all that kind of stuff. We're speculating how good this signing is going to impact the team. You guys get it, but we're getting closer to the days where we can just do actual reports based on what's happening on the field, and yes, quicker versus later. All right, Lions star defensive tackle named NFL's most overpaid at position, story by Bill Rossetti, Lions Wire. I was a little surprised when this one came out yesterday, but late yesterday, earlier today, whatever time it may be. But Aleem McNeil, he's held his own down in the trenches. I think most Lions fans can say, hey, He might not be the number one DTS in the league, but he's dang near the top. He's top 10, top 8, whatever you want to say. And all the stats do corroborate that. Now, with that also being said, you have this stuff that does come out in the preseason. People just, trying to fill in some stuff, trying to keep themselves gainfully employed. And McNeil, in a number of lists, has come out recently as being perhaps the most overpaid person at the defensive tackle position. McNeil just signed, as we all are aware, a middle of the year, 4-year, $97 million contract extension before the 24 season. His average annual value is $24.25 million. Ranks fourth at the position currently. He's only behind Chris Jones, Christian Wilkins, and I'm not even going to try that last name. But I'm going to mess that one up, so I'm going to leave it alone. Not a big surprise to Duke Crew members that I mess up a name. We also understand last year, the first year of the new deal, he tore his ACL. That's going to put some fear in some people. The good part is he's 25 years old, and every year in the NFL, you can see him trending upwards. Remember, for a mid-round pick, a third-round pick, he's been more than advertised. He can get to the quarterback. He can shut down the run. He's a leader in the locker room. He does a whole lot of good things. And the word is that he's going to be back on the field probably a little bit before Thanksgiving. I think we're all thankful for that because he will impact the defense. You think about when he's back with the Detroit Lions on that defensive front. You got the rookie Williams. You got DJ Reader. You got a whole lot of good talent at the defensive tackle spot. When McNeil comes back, they're going to be able to edge him into stuff. Could we all kind of Scooby-Doo second guess and say, hey, maybe they should have paid him a little bit less? It's possible. But I'm going to trust in Brad Holmes. I'm going to trust in DC's wisdom and say this. A year or two from now, we might look back and say he got underpaid. But that's just kind of how these things go. But Lee McNeil, let's just hope he heals up and gets back on the field relatively quickly. All right, next to the 5 headlines now. Lions offensive line issued yet another dire warning ahead of the 2025 season. Sideline report, a story by Max DeMar. Before Frank Ragnow's retirement, I think everybody and their mother had, as far as their top offensive lines in the NFL, they had the Detroit Lions in the very least the top 5. Probably more often than not, you find them top 3. Yes, Kevin Zeitler, who's no longer here, was a part of those rankings. So losing both Frank the Tank and Kevin Z or whatever, it has impacted some things, questioned some things. Per a newest report from ESPN and Pro Football Focus combined on this one, they do have the Lions ranked at number 14 on the offensive line. While that may sound all doom and gloom, you're now middle of the pack, and there's probably some perhaps truth to having him ranked lower because you have some unknowns. We don't yet know who the center is going to be. We don't know who the left or right guard is going to be. We have assumptions. And we are assuming most of these guys, or whoever is going to come in and fill up those spots, are going to perform at a pretty good level. Me, myself, and I, not this report, I've got us as the number 8 unit in the league with upside potential to number 4. I think we're going to grow. We're going to be pretty good. You can't take anything away from Penei Sewell. You can't really take anything away from Taylor Decker. I thought both of them played very good last year. Now, who's the center going to be? Me, myself, and I think it's going to be Graham Glasgow. And then you probably got Ratledge on one side, Mahogany on the other. I think most of you guys assume that too. You know what? You know how you get higher in the rankings? You go out there and prove it on a weekly basis. This story's kind of got us sounding doom and gloom that Jared Goff's going to be on his backside more often than not. The running game is going to disappear. The passing game is going to go down, yada, yada. They kind of slammed Christian Mahogany for being a 6th-round pick. I say that's asinine if you ask me because you don't know just because somebody's drafted wherever if they're going to be good or bad. And I think from what we saw limited last year, Mahogany's going to be pretty dang good. I also think Ratledge is going to be better than advertised. The center spot is probably the big question mark right now. But whoever gets out there, you got 2 pretty good players flanking you on both sides. Plus, you got the tackles. You're probably going to the Lions are going to probably nursemaid whoever that is a little bit. If Glasgow plays better than he at center than he did at left guard last year, then maybe you don't have to do that as much. All right, next to the 5 headlines now. Jameson Williams trade speculation. Can't get away from this, can we? Gets lightly reignited by Lions beat writer Sideline Report, story by Brad Berryman. We talked about it yesterday. I feel like we talked about it a lot in the last week. Do I think personally Jameson Williams is doing anything other than catching passes with the Detroit Lions? No, I do not. But per this report, you do have some more information coming out about it. Do I think he's going to leave here? No. But you've got more and more people speculating he's going to this team. He's getting traded to there. This team needs him. That team wants him. Even Albert Breers of Sports Illustrated brought up the possibility of Williams being traded in 2 separate articles in the last 7 days. A move didn't happen, of course, as of yet, and he does say in these articles he has inside information that Brad Holmes is said to be considering trading Jameson Williams, but trying to keep it off the radar. I don't know if this is going to happen. It would make zero sense to me. I'm not even sure what you would get for him. But whatever you're going to get, I think we can all agree that would have to be a pretty big haul. If the Lions were to trade J-Mo, I just think you're going to have something that's a landslide, no-brainer situation where the Lions say, yeah, we have to take that trade. Because at the end of the day, I don't care who it is, everybody's tradable. Even if you were the greatest player of all time, if somebody offers enough, like the Herschel Walker trade, for those who remember it, you got to take it, because 17 players for one guy, especially if some of those guys you're receiving are Hall of Famers, you're probably taking those Hall of Famers for one guy. At the end of the day, though, I think we're going to be talking about this for another week or two, until training camp begins. But also, at the end of the season, I do suspect fully that Jameson Williams is going to be a Detroit Lion. He's probably going to get a contract extension as well. All right, moving on from that one, because we probably don't need to spend a lot of time on that one. Open thread, where does Jared Goff rank among all-time Lions quarterbacks? Question mark story by Jeremy Risman of SB Nation. It's a fair question, especially since you have Netflix's quarterback show going on. You see all the things Goff has achieved in his time here. Where does Jared Goff rank among all-time Detroit Lions quarterbacks? Well, let's go through it. As far as yards, he's got, we'll just say 17,000 yards. He's 113 short. Second all-time behind Matt Stafford, who's first. Touchdown passes. I was a little surprised by this one. He's got 115 touchdown passes, and that's saying something since he's only been here 4 seasons. He's third behind Stafford and Bobby Lane. Completion percentage. Did you know he's already the Lions' all-time best at this? He's at, 67.9 completion percentage, first all-time in Lions history. Passer rating, also first all-time at 102. So, Goff, I get he's got his detractors. It's hard to argue those kind of stats. Wins, 39th. He's fourth behind Stafford, Lane, and Greg Landry. Probably going to move up on that list, I'm guessing, after this season. Playoff wins. I would not have guessed this, if you asked me off the top. But he's got 2 playoff wins, which makes him second all-time against only Bobby Lane. Probably not a big shocker there. 12 game-winning drives. He's second all-time behind Matt Stafford. Pro Bowls, 2, and again, behind Bobby Lane. So, man, Matt Stafford didn't even make it to the Pro Bowl twice as a Detroit Lion. I would not have guessed that offhand. So, we get it. Anybody watching this show probably understands the Lions throughout the last 70 years haven't been the greatest. And because of the renaissance that they're currently in, Jared Goff's going to be contributing a lot to it, or get credit a lot for that renaissance. What he's going to do this year probably just further cements him in Lions lore or history. He's been one of the best we've ever had. We can say what we want about this guy or that guy. It doesn't mean other people haven't been great. But what we do know is Jared Goff, if he's not number 1 or 2, he's in the top 5 for every Detroit Lions passing stat. Let that sink in, and he's only done it in a few seasons. So, kid's had some success. All right, last of the 5 headlines now. Lions essentially sealed a Super Bowl as Super Bowl contenders by ESPN analyst Jane Johnson, Wall Street Journal. I thought about making this the main top of the day for you all, but I was like, I think we kind of already have expectations throughout the vast majority of the fan base. Lions are one of the best, rosters in the NFL, if not the best in the NFL. If I had to poll 1,000 people in the Dew Crew and just say, if you had to say where the Lions were, where would you place them? Is there anybody better than us? Who would you list? I'm going to guess most people would say, hey, the Lions, I don't know, Philadelphia, maybe Washington, maybe Baltimore. I don't know. You guys get it, though. There's probably only a couple teams really in our conversation from player 1 through 53 being near the top of the NFL. Well, I'm not going to spend all day on this. I'm going to get right to it. So the Lions had a poll, the NFL had a poll, and then ESPN's Bill Barwell has released his rankings of the best of the best of the best in the NFL. So number one on the list, probably not a big shock to a lot of people, the Philadelphia Eagles. By the way, number 32 was the Tennessee Titans. 31, Carolina Panthers, and this is for the best rosters in the NFL. Number 30, New England Patriots. 29, Cleveland Browns. Yeah, I tell you what, let's not do everybody in the team in the league. We'll be here all day. All right, like I said earlier, though, you had the Philadelphia Eagles at number 1, Detroit Lions number 2. So what do you guys think? Do you like these kind of rankings? Do you want more of this kind of stuff with the couple weeks we have left in the preseason before we get to really all the fireworks of the games and training camp? Number 3, by the way, in case you're wondering, the Cincinnati Bengals. Number 4, San Francisco 49ers. I do think they will bounce back this year. Obviously, they were very beat up last year. Number 5 on the list, I was a little shocked by this one, the Los Angeles Rams. We'll just go with the top 10. How about that? 6, Minnesota Vikings. I've said it for a few weeks now on this show, maybe a few months. If J.J. McCarthy hits, they might have one of the best rosters for the foreseeable future in the NFL. But that's a big question mark to have if you're going to have more or less a rookie quarterback taking the center for you. Number 7 on Barwell's list is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 8, Baltimore Ravens. Number 9, the Atlanta Falcons. Really? And then number 10, the Miami Dolphins. As far as other NFC teams, or excuse me, NFC North teams, I probably should just focus on that. Let's see. Where did he put the other 2? Green Bay Packers, number 17th. They were 17th last year as well. And then we got to find, I'm still scrolling to find the Bears, so this might take a hot second. I know the Bears were near the bottom of the list, and I was a little surprised by that. Number 25. Barwell had them as number 6 in the league last year. He thinks they've actually taken a significant drop off in the upcoming season. What say you about that, Duke Crew? Me, myself, and I think, yeah, there's no denying that the Lions have one of the best offenses, and it seems like on paper they've gotten significantly deeper on defense. Will deeper mean better? That's what we're going to have to wait and see, and could be a segue into the main topic of the day. So without further ado, let's get on over to it. All off season, I think every Lions fan anticipated when we went into free agency, the Lions were going to sign somebody to really kind of come in and help shore up that defensive front, get after the quarterback, shut down the run, everything in between. When Zadarius Smith got cut, I think a lot of Lions fans at least had a raised eyebrow. Maybe they didn't panic. Maybe they thought it was the right move, but they probably wanted to know why it happened. And then the NFL draft happened. Now, in the first round, I know watching it live with a lot of you people, we were saying, hey, the Lions are going to make a move up to number 15 and acquire player X. They're going to move up to number 22 and get after player Z. Whoever it was, it didn't happen. We did find out afterwards the Lions did try to make a trade, but we'll probably never 100% know who the player was they tried to get. It just didn't shake out. Me, myself, and I had my anticipations, what we're going to do. It didn't happen. Second round, you know what? We made a trade. Everybody's running up and saying, who you get? It's got to be a pass rusher. It wasn't. It was offensive lineman, and I didn't have a problem with it. I know some people wanted a defensive end. It didn't materialize. But as the draft went on more and more, free agency stuck around. You know what? There wasn't ever that big burning move. Now we've gotten some more word out of the Lions pre-training camp from coaches, people talking to the media. This $24 million man may already be earning every penny and putting a lot of smiles on Detroit Lions coaching faces. And probably most of you already know, but this person is Derek Barnes. There were a whole lot of people that thought, wow, why did we pay Derek Barnes that kind of money? He got overpaid. Yes, Alex Anzalone maybe took exception to it, the whole shebang-a-bang. But what we're hearing more and more as we're getting ready for training camp is that Kelvin Shepard really pushed for Barnes to be re-signed. Barnes did have an offer from the New York Football Jets to go there. Obviously, Aaron Glenn saw value in him and made him, apparently, what we're hearing, a pretty good offer. Lions went 15-2, and this is with Barnes for the most part on the sideline, Malcolm Rodriguez on the sideline, and you know what, Alex Anzalone missing some time. You've heard a couple of people, including Professor Kurt Steele and some other guests on the show, kind of speculate. I know Anthony mentioned it, I want to say yesterday, that there's some anticipation the Lions at times will be playing a 3-4 defense, allowing more rush ends to get after there, basically playing as linebacker. If that happens, it does sound like Shepard is planning on using Derek Barnes to get after the quarterback, Aiden Hutchinson's going to be in a more of a standing position opposite there, put more speed, more bend on the field. With all that being said, I went ahead and Scooby-Dooed his past couple of seasons. And you know what? Last year, and I get it's a limited amount because he got injured against Arizona, his pass rush win rate is actually one of the top 15 in the NFL. This is for a defensive end, defensive tackle, just a defensive player. So perhaps the Detroit Lions coaching staff sat down and said to themselves, we can't let him go to the Jets because in this new scheme or hybrid scheme between a 4-3 and a 3-4 that we're going to play more often than not, Derek Barnes might have real value. Yes, we're all anticipating Zadarius Smith is going to re-sign with the team, and I do think he will ultimately. But in this instance, we all get it. Rotation. One of the things that makes the Philadelphia Eagles one of the top defenses the last couple seasons, they've got 8 dudes that can fly after the quarterback. It's not just 2 or 3 guys. They can rotate, keep them fresh throughout the season while keeping their energy high in particular games. Derek Barnes, he hasn't had a ton of sacks in his NFL career, but throughout his career, he has been able to get to the quarterback. People just simply got rid of the ball before it. I think the Lions put a bit of a gamble in on him, and it sounds like early on they're anticipating big things from him. So what we can anticipate is Derek Barnes isn't just the only person the Lions appear to be investing in-house. Mitchell Aguiye is also popping up on more and more radars. Now, I'd like to talk about what people do during the offseason to get better. We talked about that maybe a week ago about Jared Goff trying to get a little bit thinner, a little bit stronger, a little bit faster. We pointed out how the Lions are going to use Avonte Maddox as a Swiss Army knife. I do think you're going to see Derek Barnes also used in the same way, defensive end, linebacker, maybe a couple other different situations. But I wanted to make this kind of a tie into the main topic today. Mitchell Aguiye, we all know he was invited to Sac University or whatever. The early reviews of it that have come out are all the same. He's looking pretty dang good. He's probably not going to be a starter, but he's clearly elevated his abilities to a new level. And I don't think it's just because of Sac University or whatever. He's put in a lot of work. There's a couple articles floating online where you can even watch some video of him, and you can see how his core section has gotten slimmed down. You can see where his lower leg strength has gotten bigger. His legs look pretty much like trees. I mean, he's gotten a lot more mass there. And the reports are he's gotten a little bit more athletic, agilic, or whatever you want to say, bend, getting after quarterback. And I thought he had pretty good bend if you watch him last preseason. So between these two, between perhaps the switch to the 3-4 at times, what are your anticipations for Derek Barnes, Mitchell Aguiye, and maybe some of the other guys? Ahmed Hassanin, I get it. The things are through the roof for him as far as one of the rookies. I don't think he's going to have a 59-sack performance this year. But, you know, if he can get 5 or 6 in a rotational piece, maybe this Detroit Lions defense is going to be able to get after the quarterback without having to blitz 97% of the time like they did last year with all the injuries. What's your anticipation for Derek Barnes? Do the coaches know something going into the season? My early guess is they did. And again, came down to a bidding war. Do you want him playing over in New York? Do you want him staying here? Sounds like they want him to stay here. And it does sound like Kelvin Shepard played a big role in that. He wanted him here for a very specific reason. As a Sam backer, you don't go into coverage a whole lot. You do go, kill the other quarterback and running back a whole lot. Do you think that's something Derek Barnes is going to do well? Me, myself, and I, based on the information we got this week, I think Derek Barnes, he might not be a gold jacket. He may not be all pro. I think he's going to be highly effective, though. So, all right, I rambled on long enough with all this. Let's get over to you guys, and then we'll have our special guest hopefully here in about 4 to 6 minutes, assuming he gets up on time. So, all right, let's get to the top of the screen. JDC, morning all, back at you. Can't say it's ever a bad day when we don't have the crew here. It's always a good day with the new crew. Till then, training camp, please start. It's going to be here soon. We got, 15 seconds or less? Bo, good morning, Duke crew. Who? Question mark. Woo! Hey, who it is. Johnny L, good morning, folks. And same with you. Johnny, I will be heading to the hospital shortly. Hopefully you're okay, man. I know you've been sick. You fell and hit the head, man. You've had a rough go of it this week. Trey, what's good, everybody? Question mark. You good, Johnny? Let's hope so. Bo, good luck, Johnny. 100%. Don't sweep your own leg, Johnny. If some of you will get the Karate Kid reference. JDC, hope all goes well, Johnny L. Take care. There you go. Hookadoo. Good morning, Duke crew. One prime. Exclamation point. So does this mean no Z to Detroit? I think he'll still sign here, Hooks. It's just, whether or not, it's going to be this week or next week, I don't know. But my anticipation is, let's just Scooby-Doo this for a second. Let's just say Za'Darius does re-sign with the Detroit Lions. Let's also go with more the, I guess you say, suggested reports that will play 4-3, but at times play 3-4. I think Za'Darius and Aiden Hutchinson can both play the outside backers in that scenario and get after the quarterback. I also think that means Derek Barnes can roam there and inside, and then in a 3-4 setup, Derek Barnes, if he's outside or inside, he'll be able to blitz the quarterback to get after it from either spot. Try to put more pressure on the offensive lineman to understand who's going and who's coming. My guess is they would do that mostly on second down or if there happened to be a first and long. But if you look at the defensive tackle spot for the Detroit Lions and a lot of our defensive ends, they can all switch from a 4-3 to a 3-4 and just move positions and not cause any issues. All right, France, I was about to ask that same question, Hookie. Well, now you do. Let's see, France. But I do think we will resign Za'Darius Smith. Yes, I think he will be back. Johnny, no, and I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired. I just want this over with. Yeah, well, hopefully they can fix you right on up, my friend. Hopefully they will. Good morning, Johnny L. This have anything to do with the tumble you took the other day? Hope all goes well. Yes, let us know how it goes, my friend. Jess, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew. Barnes was getting more go as a rusher the last 2 years before he blew out that knee. Yeah, he had PCL and MCL injury. If I'm going off my noggin, so don't hold me to it, but that sounds right. Hopefully he's fully recovered by now. I think Shep is going to unleash him more. Yeah, I think there's a couple guys that could fit that bill. I like Derek Barnes. I get, again, he's not all world, all pro, but I think he's dang good at what he does, and what he is, he gets after the quarterback. Johnny L, no Hookadoo internal bleeding. Ooh, no, let's hope no internal bleeding indeed. Hookie, I hope so, France. I think Detroit really has a need for Z. We got a need for Z in the D. How about that? Johnny L, is that him in the pick? It is Derek Barnes in the thumbnail. I don't think so. It is Derek Barnes. It is. Hookadoo, well, just tell the doctors you're a Lions fan, and the doctors will treat you like gold, Johnny. Hey, we got that inside stuff. Johnny L, believe me, they know. All right, you'll let them know. JDC, Dreyfus rocks, and he rolls and rolls. Rules. How about that? Mary Smith, good morning, Duke Crew. Time is ticking. Who's ready for some football? I think we all are, man. Off season, hey, gives us a little bit of time and a break. But you know what? I think we're all chomping the bit to actually get back to the games on the field. All right, Stephanie, good morning, boys. And good morning, Mary, by the way. Stephanie, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. About to head to training. Can only listen in for a little bit here. Please sign Z Smith. I hope we do. I hope we do indeed. Johnny Rolls, I got you, my friend. Drake, so are we saying Barnes is just going to be a pass rusher this season? In my opinion, mostly yes. I mean, it just, at least if I missed it, I apologize, but I've just never seen him be very effective in pass coverage. Not terrible, but is he Alex Anzalone's level? No. But that being said, don't forget, he did make the game-sealing interception against Tampa Bay 2 seasons ago. I think he's just better at going forward and getting after the cornerback, the running back, and I do anticipate they're going to do more of that with him this year. Any more? Rise and shine, Duke Crew. We are about to get busy. Exclamation point. Good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. What a team. What a podcast. What a time to be a Lions fan. Woo! And good to see you as always, Henry. Clark, yo. Can you smell what Dan Campbell is cooking? Question mark. Blitzes are coming out of the defense this year that will get home. Last year, yeah, we blitzed a lot. Didn't get to the quarterback a whole lot. Some of that's just, everybody was hurt, right? This year, I think you're going to have a little bit more effect with it because I think you're going to do it not as blatantly, so maybe catch people off guard a little bit more. Johnny L. Drake, maybe just a little bit more. I'll take that. Hookadoo. I'm on the same page, Stephanie and France. Yeah, I'm sure a few more of the Duke Crew. Oh, yeah. Okay. Johnny, me too, Hookie. All right. Big Eddie. What happened to Dose of Dion? Does anyone else notice he's not on much lately? I haven't noticed as much. I was on Micro Mike's show for a little bit yesterday. He did a live, but it's off season. Some people take, vacations and such. Michael, well, I think the linebacker position is set now, question mark, adding Zach Cunningham to the roster, but still nothing on AA. Yeah, I think Alex is just going to play his contract, see what happens from there. That's my anticipation. Five Fingers Freddy, let's, less than 2 weeks away now, exclamation point, let's go, 100%. Johnny, listen, I don't want to be a whiner, just sharing so that you all know. Hey, nothing wrong with that at all. Susan, I think we will play more 3-4 this year. Anyone else see that happening? I do see that. Johnny sees that. Clinton, greetings, sanitation, y'all. About to do something. DB. Oh, Derek Barnes. Derek Barnes about to do something. All right, guys, let's go over. It's about that time to bring forth our special guest today. You guys all know him. You love him. We just haven't seen him in a hot minute. Let's go all over to Hutch Jr. Hutch Jr., wakey. Did you have your eggs and bakey this morning?
I did.
All right. Yesterday, you got me some news, some information. I think most of us anticipated this last year. It sounds like the Lions are going to pursue it more this year. Talk to us about some of the plans that seem to be emerging for Gibbs on offense this year.
Yeah, from what, I've been kind of looking at, I think we've kind of been, I've always talked about it and I've always said it, but it sounds like they've been splitting Gibbs out a lot. I can't remember the guy who interviewed him. I think it was 2 days ago. And they kind of asked him, how does he feel about the new offense? Has he noticed any changes? And he said the only big change that I've noticed is I've been splitting out a lot more. So that means, could there be coming two back sets with Montgomery and Gibbs, which we all know would be absolutely deadly to this offense. Obviously, each one of those guys brings a different package and what they do to the offense. So, I mean, if Gibbs on the field more is beneficial to this offense, I think it opens this playbook more. It frees up. Now the linebacker has to count to Gibbs, and anyone knows there's not a linebacker in the NFL that can guard Gibbs one-on-one. So I'm all for it. I'm excited for training camp. I hope I get a sneak preview of it. I will actually be going to training camp in August. So I'm hoping maybe that, we get to see this new offense. And I think we all know back, when everyone was wondering when Ben Johnson left, I think everyone was just kind of, okay, how's this offense going to flow? And, John Morton came out and said, hey, look, we're not changing it. It works. We're just going to add to it. So maybe this is part of that playbook that he's talking about.
Back in, I don't know, the 70s, 60s, you probably go back before really the 2000s. It wasn't uncommon to see two-star running backs in the same backfield and just use them different ways. If that happens where the Lions do go back to a more traditional pro style, I guess you could say, offense with a split backfield, who do you think's out there at the receiver, tight end position? Do you think we have Sam Laporta out there? Do we think we go three receivers? How do you see the formation setting up?
I would say you probably put J-Mo out there just because of his burner speed. Amon-Ra, and I do think you throw a tight end out there, maybe an XY receiver. I would have to see the formations that they run. I know, because their running packages are so weird. I wouldn't be shocked, man, if they somehow lined up David Montgomery as a fullback one play and just shocked us all. I mean, who knows what this team's going to do? If you can have both those guys on the field, it's just it's hard for defenses to cover. They let alone. I mean, you got 2,000-yard wide receivers outside. You got J-Mo and you got Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now you're talking about putting one of the best running backs. I mean, he was rated the third best running back coming into this year, right behind Saquon and Derrick Henry. So you put Gibbs out there, man, and everyone knows. I mean, he gets into space.
He does.
It's. I mean, you can go back to that Tennessee game. You can go back to the Viking game. You can go back to many games last year where he found a crease and he was gone. So I'm all for this Gibbs thing, man. It just, you got to find ways. No one knows what this offense is going to be like, and if you can just put the fear of, hey, he's out there, defenses now have to respect him, and that's going to open up things.
I've also talked about we mentioned it earlier in today's show in the 5 headlines. Now, there's all sorts of speculation what the Detroit Lions are going to do on the offensive line. And let's be fair, they've got to have good protection up there to keep Goff clean, to open up holes. I've also said this offseason, while it's unfortunate Frank Ragnow retired, I also get it. His body's taking a beating. He wants to move on in life. Doesn't mean it's not an opportunity for somebody else. What do you think are some of the strengths, potentially the positive sides of Zettler moving on, Frank retiring? What do you think are some of the positive these new players could bring?
I mean, just young and the ability to learn. I mean, you got to think you're putting Mahogany, you're putting Manu, you're putting Ratledge right in between Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell. Obviously it sucks that Ragnar retired. It's a huge loss. Everyone knows. Like you said, I just think he was ready to retire. I know they talked about it last year. I think he was going to retire, and then he probably just came back for one more, like, hey, let's run it back, see what happens, kind of thing. Right. But yeah, his body. But you put these guys between all pros, and who better to learn from than Penei Sewell? I mean, he's 20? was he 24 now, 25, somewhere in there, 26?
Somewhere around
Um,
there.
so these guys are coming in outside of Taylor Decker. I mean, you're learning from one of the best tackles in the game. Um, and it's better now because back then you'd be drafting these guys, you're just throw them into the wolves and say, "Here you go, guys. Go protect our star quarterback." Now these guys have some anchorage that they, can rely on with Decker and Panay. So I'm excited to see Ratledge, man. Everything that has came out of pre-training camp, things like that, the workouts that he just fit right in. So I think they knew what they were doing when drafting him. I think we were all kind of like, why are we drafting this guy? And when we did, and thankfully we did, because if we wouldn't have, who knows where this team would have been. But it shows confidence in this team that they have confidence in Ratledge to say, hey, we're losing an all-pro in Ragnow. I need you to go in. I need you to take this over. There's probably going to be some learning curves, but who knows? This guy might come in and just shock us all.
Right.
Manu came in last year a couple games, and Mahogany came in, and I remember Mahogany came in that one game, and he shut stuff down out there. So
He
I'm
played
excited.
pretty well. Yeah, and I'm too. I think I'm cautiously optimistic about what they're going to be able to do on the line. I look at it and I go, we probably got more athletic because they are younger, fresher bodies. They don't have all the wear that some of the other guys did, but it's a great opportunity. Somebody's got an opportunity to show themselves now. All right, let's talk about the defense because the main topic of the day was Derek Barnes, but we're also hearing about Mitchell Guye. Both of them, it sounds like, could be expected to have a bigger season than most Lions fans would anticipate being used to get after the quarterback. Guye was invited to sack you. Barnes, it just sounds like from a schematic standpoint, the Jets, Aaron Glenn wanted him. The Lions decided to keep him. Yes, they had to pay a little bit to keep him, but also means two different franchises viewed this guy as worthwhile. What do you think the Lions are going to do with DB once the season starts?
Yeah, that's kind of been the mystery because I still don't know what defense these guys are going to run. I don't know if they're going to run the Aaron Glenn, which I highly doubt. Calvin Shepard, being a linebacker, I think this is going to fit into his little scheme. Derek Barnes was kind of like that Mike linebacker that kind of just roamed, and sometimes you would see him on a blitz, sometimes he'd stay home. I don't think they're going to use him a lot in the blitzing aspect. I think if they do that, I think they would use Oguye or someone like that to come in as like just a blitzing linebacker on that edge. I think they would benefit more of having Anzalone, Campbell, and Derek Barnes just kind of staying home and kind of sideline to sideline. I think that's kind of where they slacked last year towards late of the season. They didn't have that speed to get out to the end, and you saw it a lot in the Commanders playoff game. I mean, they were just dumping off short passes, and Commanders would just break it loose because our linebackers couldn't cover them. I think that's where Derek Barnes comes in. Jack Campbell is kind of that hard nose, just come down, and then Anzalone is just kind of the leader of the defense. So I think getting Derek Barnes for this defense back this year is going to be really nice. We missed him quite a lot last year in certain situations. I mean, it was an unfortunate event. I don't ever see us having that many injuries in a season again. That was just crazy, but who knows? Football gods act different. So I think Derek Barnes is just going to be one of those guys that's just going to be the glue for this defense. I think you can do multiple things in different packages with him. And then, I just think his reliability and his familiarity with this defense, you can do whatever you want with him.
ESPN released yesterday their opinions on who's the number one team in the NFL, number two, number 32, etc. Chicago Bears came in at number 25. Green Bay Packers, number 17. Minnesota Vikings were in the top 10. And Detroit Lions were in the top 10. We were number 2. If you had to rank, in your opinion, the NFC North right now as far as where they would rank in the NFL, where would you put each of the teams?
Yeah, I would probably say Eagles are number 1 just because they won the Super Bowl. I would probably say the Lions are number 2. I would say the Commanders, with the addition of Deebo Samuel and some of the stuff they did. Now they did lose some pieces on defense. Let's not forget they lost some. So that's tall tale. We'll see. Terry McLaurin is still out. He has not practiced. So that's another big piece for Commanders. So 3 is kind of iffy. I would say Green Bay's Minnesota's one of those weird ones for me. I could see them being in top 10, but it all plays into JJ McCarthy's QB play. Um, no one really knows what JJ was going to be. He could come out and light the world up. I expect him to be decent. I don't know. I mean, he's still technically a rookie. He didn't play last year, so he could have
Correct.
those up and downs, and that could deter Minnesota's season. Um, they might go 9-7. They might go 10-6. They might go 8-8. Who? No one knows with what JJ is going to do. The Bears is one for me. I don't I don't know where they stand because I look at their offensive line. Sure, they got Jonah Jackson. Sure, they got Funley from Kansas City. But if you look behind them, they're still really weak in the O line. Um, them losing Keenan Allen kind of doesn't make that offense as good because Keenan, I mean, he torched the Lions on Thanksgiving. Let's
You
be
did.
real. He's a veteran. He knows how to get open. So now, yes, you added Colston Loveland, rookie draft, but Komet kind of was a no-show last year. He just was there. So now you're talking about taking him out. You got that big contract. You're going to throw a rookie in, um, and then you know one injury on that old line between the Bears, and they're right back to where Caleb Williams is running for his life. So I can see the Bears being down there, but I could also see them moving up the list because of things that happen. But we still got to see what Caleb Williams is because really, I mean, you got DJ Moore, you got Luther Burden, who's a rookie, and now you got Roma Dunze. They're still rookies,
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how the Bears are. I don't have. I mean, I could see them finishing third. I don't think the Packers are going to be that good this year. Let's be real. They're dealing with a lot of contract negotiations. I think they're still down some of their starting offensive linemen, so that could hurt Jordan Love in an aspect. That first game is going to be very interesting to see. Can the Packers stop Detroit's pass rush? Because they're down, I think, two veteran linemen right now. Some people on their defense, they have no cornerbacks. I mean, Jair's gone. Packers have a lot of holes, and I don't think a lot of people realize it. They're gonna have to score a lot of points. And Jordan Love has those games where he's inaccurate, where he looks really good, and then he makes dumb mistakes. We saw when the Lions played, he had the interception at the end of the half, and Detroit ended up going on winning. So yeah, and then I mean, outside the Rams and the Lions, or the Lions, I mean, you could put the Rams up there now. Rams, Puka and Devontae Adams that's a dangerous
The
receiving core.
combo.
It's going to be very interesting to see how this NFC plays out. I'm very interested, but my top three definitely probably say the Eagles, the Lions, and then I would probably even throw the Rams maybe three just because of that receiving core.
Now, just about the NFC North real quick. I get Minnesota Vikings question at quarterback, like you point out with
Yeah.
JJ. You look at the Chicago Bears, we still don't know what Caleb Williams is going to be. So until that kind of proves itself, I guess it's legitimate to have questions about him. When it comes to the offensive line, yes, they made some additions, but also meant teams were willing to trade these guys. There was a reason why they were wanting to move off of those players. And then you brought it up with the Green Bay Packers. A lot of questions on their O-line, their quarterback, their secondary. End of the day, how good do you think the Detroit Lions will look against all of them? Do you think maybe it's a great setup? Maybe let me reword that. Do you think it's a great setup going with Green Bay and then Chicago first to start the year so you can have Shep, Morton kind of get used to things, get guys under their belt or whatever their terminologies with those first two games?
Yeah, I do. I mean, obviously the Packers, who knows? I mean, if they're not going to be great, I mean, that might be like one of those warm-up games where you just see us. I don't think it's going to be Tennessee Titan bad, but that could be a game where the Lions absolutely blow the doors off the Packers. Then the hype comes around. But then I think they're going to have to lock back in for the Bears. I think the Lions would. I think they want to show Ben Johnson like, hey, we're still kind of mad that you left, so you're coming into Detroit. We're going to show you what it's like to be on that other side. All the talk of all offseason, the Lions aren't going to be good this year. They lost both coordinators.
Right.
I think Dan Campbell right now is probably putting that on a bulletin board saying, hey, we were 12-5 last year. We were supposed to be Super Bowl favorites last year. We lost to the Commanders. No one believes in us because we lost Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. Go prove them wrong. I guarantee you that's been talk in that. And this team, from what I've seen, from what I've heard, these guys are locked in. Like I mean,
Right.
Brian Branch has even said it. I think he came out OTAs. He's like, dude, we're better than we were last year at this time. Like, we're so locked in. We're ready to go. We're tired of the talk. Just let us play football. We're ready to smash these people. So it's going to be very interesting to see how we do in the first two games. And having two NFC North opponents in your first two games is a huge step, because you win those two games, now you have a 2-game lead in the NFC North. And everyone knows the Lions' schedule is brutal, but the way it's kind of played out, I think they do good.
All right, Hutch Jr., I want to thank you for making a little time out of your morning, getting up extra early to hang out with the Duke Crew. Why don't you go ahead and give yourself a shout out to everybody where they can find you, your great work, and show you some support and love.
Yeah, as always, thanks for having me again, Dan. Thanks again this morning. Duke Crew, thanks again. You can always find me on Twitter, the one and only Hutch Jr., and then also on cmvradio.com. That is where I do most of my stuff. I am actually getting ready to do another one here soon, to be determined, but we'll get that when we come out. But yeah, as always, go Lions, man. Season is 2 weeks away. July 31st is the Hall of Fame game. So I am ready for some football.
I think we all are, man. We're chomping at the bit. We've headed up for the off season. We're ready for the regular season. All right, my friend. Thanks for making some time. We'll catch you on the next one.
Yep. Thanks for having me, Dan.
We'll see you now. All right, that was Hutch Jr., the man, the myth, the legend himself. So I'm going to wrap this one up a little bit early today, guys, just so I got some work stuff to do. But if you guys all know, if there's breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as quick as possible. If you would be so kind before checking out, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, hit all the buttons. Take care. Do something kind for somebody you don't know. Be a good human being. And we'll see you guys all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody. You're still here? What are you doing here? It's over. The show's over. Go home.